I'll be coming out of Matthew chapter 8 today. And while y'all turn, I want to say a little prayer and just thank God for everything. Lord Jesus, we just want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for your love, your mercy, your grace, and your long suffering, Lord. Please be with us today, Lord. In your precious name I pray. Amen. So, Matthew chapter 8. I'm going back to the first sermon I ever preached, Brother Reggie. I promise you it will be longer because I literally said like maybe 10 words the first time. I was so nervous I didn't want to do it. But nobody else was willing to do it. And I literally said about 10 words. I said, that's it, that's all, and I sat down. And who would have known that from that, I found out that everybody in that church said, when I finally surrendered to preach and I said I got licensed ordained, they said we all knew it from them 10 words. But one of my favorite things right here is verse 23 through 26. And when he was entered into a ship, the disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. And the disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he saith unto them, Why are you fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the seas, and there was a great calm. You know, I grew up in church. I grew up in the Bible. I mean, this was one of the Bible stories. I said that when I say story, I mean historical stories. I don't mean a fantasy. I grew up with this, but in my mind, what I pictured, you know, my brother had me watching. I watched movies with my brother, and I always pictured the ship off of the Goonies. If you ever seen that, it's a big pirate ship, Brother Reggie. And that's what I pictured. You know, it had cabins. It had hundreds of crew members. I mean, there was different levels. So it made perfect sense to me that they would be looking for Jesus when this happened. That they were panicking. Because I was like, well, they probably just didn't know where he was. They were looking for their captain. Because, you know, a captain, when the storm comes or a battle comes, the captain's supposed to be up there at the steering wheel so they can all see him and get courage. That their leader is there and he will get them through it. And this storm was so bad they thought that the ship was going to go down. And they're like, where's Jesus? Where did he go? Is he not here? Did he abandon us? And he come to realize, through the Jesus film, when I finally watched it as a teenager, their ships wasn't like that. They were very small ships, very open. I mean, it was literally like they could have looked over like me looking at Zach and go, hey, Jesus, you can't hear that? You can't feel that rain? And it made me realize when I see that you don't have to go looking for Jesus. You don't have to wonder when bad things happen, when the storms of life happen. It's just, well, where's Jesus? Where is he? Is he here? You don't have to go looking for him because he's already there. You don't have to wonder, did our captain abandon us? You don't have to wonder, well, what part of the ship is he in? You just look where he said he's going to be in the first place. At the right hand of the Father. He told you where he's going to be. So why are we wondering where is he at? We live in a world that is so anti-God because they wonder if there is a God, where is he at? He's exactly where he said he's going to be. It's not his fault that you don't know where to look. Because he said he was going to be there. He doesn't change. He's never broken a promise. He's still in the boat. You ever heard that saying, you can't see the forest because of the trees? Well, people can't find Jesus because they're so focused on the storm that they don't realize he is right there with them. You don't have to question if Jesus is going to get you through the storm. Of course he is. Another thing it made me realize when I realized what kind of a boat it was, is that Jesus experienced everything his disciples would experience at that moment. The rain that was hitting them was hitting Jesus. I didn't realize that as a kid. As I said, I was pitching a different kind of ship. I was like, maybe he just didn't realize how bad it was. That's the reason why they couldn't find him. No. He was experienced everything that they were experiencing. The same wind was hitting them. As I said, the same rain. He was being jostled by the same waves. But he could stay calm when they panicked. Do you know there's not a thing that you are going through that is going to stump Jesus? You cannot bring anything to Jesus that he hasn't experienced. They asked the question. They asked Jesus the question. They said, you don't know what we're going through? Do you not realize it? Oh, yes, he realized it. Because he was getting hit by the same thing. He felt it. Anything you have or will go through, Jesus has went through it. He walked this earth. You know, he even experienced like being aggravated with his parents. Who has not been aggravated with their parents? And you say, when was he aggravated with his parents? Well, don't you remember when they came in the temple and was losing their minds? Why? Where were you? Why didn't you tell us? We were so worried. And he was like, duh, Mom and Dad, you should have known. You know, your parents have the best interest. They love you, and you know it, but sometimes you just want to be like, calm down, old people. I mean, who hasn't been there? Even Jesus was there. He understands. He had good times with friends. They went to the wedding. He wept at the loss of loved ones. They said Jesus wept. You want to talk about physical pain? I know some of y'all know more than I do about physical pain. Read about Jesus' death. You know what's really eye-opening about how much Jesus knows about your physical pain? Go get a copy of that movie, The Message of The Case for Christ, and get to that scene when that doctor is explaining to the man what would happen to a human body if they experienced what Jesus went through. We don't know what pain is. You cannot bring somebody that's going to stump Jesus. You're not going to bring somebody to him and he's going to be like, you know what, I really don't know. Let me get someone who's a little bit more wiser than me, a reference. Let me go study up on it. Let me go Google it. Most people do nowadays. He don't have to do that. Have you ever got aggravated with someone who keeps bringing you problems that you don't know, you ain't got the answer to? I do. Especially when you haven't experienced it. I have a nephew, he finally stopped doing it, but he used to text me all the time about relationship problems. And I said, do I look like someone who should give you advice on relationships? I said, I'm not the one. I haven't experienced the long-term one yet. Why are you trying to get me to give you advice? Jesus doesn't get aggravated with us. He's got the answers. It doesn't matter how many times you come to him, or even if you come to him like they did. He's like questioning, where are you? I think he wants to hear our problems. He wants us to come. He wants us to keep coming until we hear his answer. I believe that's, me personally, I believe that's one of the problems why this world is just so like there's not a God. They're so focused on their problems, so focused on the storm, and they called out to God, do you care? Do you care? And they didn't wait for the answer. When they turned to Jesus and said, why don't you care? Why don't you do something? They didn't wait. They turned back and focused on the storm and decided, well, there must not be a God because he just doesn't care. Disciples didn't do that. I think they kept pestering Jesus probably. And they kept looking at him until he calmed the storm. We live in it's got to be right now society. We don't know. We have lost the ability to wait. Everything doesn't happen in an instant. And not all of Jesus' answers come in an instant. Sometimes we have to wait on God. We don't know his full plans. I think if we did, all the little minds would probably pop. But we still have to come to him and ask. Jesus took action when his disciples stopped trying to... Can you imagine this? When the storm happened, don't you know that they decided, hey, we're fishermen. We've done this our whole lives. We can handle this. It's okay that Jesus is asleep, even though he's our leader now. It's all right. We got this. Go ahead. Go ahead. Jesus, you don't know. You're a carpenter. We know what we're doing. And that's probably why he went to sleep in the first place. Okay, boys, you got this. I'm going to go take a nap. Until they started to sink. And then they ran to Jesus real quick. I think that's the attitude we've got today. We got this. We don't need you. And the problem is that we don't run into God anymore. We're not. And instead of him answering our prayers, he's still asleep in the back of the boat waiting for us to come to him. He hasn't moved. He's still there. He's just waiting for us to take notice that he is there. And to stop trying to save this sinking ship by our own power, by our own means, by our own wisdom. And start realizing we can't do it, and to finally call out to him. Say, why are you fearful? That says it right there. You should have known I had this to begin with. If not, I couldn't have napped through what y'all was losing y'all's minds over. Jesus already knew what he was going to do. And it's only, I'm going to tell you right now, it's only my trust in God that he's got this. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what's going to happen. And that is scary, especially in this world, in the times we live in, when you don't know at any moment we could become a communist nation. Every time you turn around, there's more people that are condemning Christians. You don't know if what we believe is going to be illegal. You don't know who's going to take offense over you and get you locked up just because you believe in God. It's coming. They're doing it. I even saw a video someone showed me on YouTube the other day where people was condemning a guy because he held up a sign saying, "I love you." You can't do that. Can't even tell someone you love them. But you know why I can sleep? Not because I got it. Not because I have it under control. Because I know who does. And when he decides to stop this storm, he will get up and he will calm it. He's not going to do it before he's ready. And he's definitely not going to do it when we're ready, or when we demand, or when we cry our eyes out, like a little kid in a grocery store that didn't get the cereal he wanted because it had the toy in it. Toys and cereals ain't fun anymore. I don't want a spoon. I already got a spoon. That's why I'm buying cereal anyway. What did Gandalf say, Brother Reggie? He says, a wizard's never late or early, shows up exactly when he intends to. We got to stop thinking of things on worldly time and stop thinking on things on godly time. Jesus could have stopped that storm before it ever even started, but he chose the right, perfect time to make his point. That they couldn't do it, but he could. Yeah. He said, no, they couldn't. Yeah, I heard that. No. What is your storm? God can calm it. What is sinking your boat right now? God can calm it. What has got you so scared that you don't know what tomorrow may hold? God can calm that. Why are you fearful? Believe me, if we're in the boat with Jesus, we have nothing to be fearful about. Because I've got a little secret to tell y'all. I've read the end of the book. I know who wins. If you want to know, read it yourself. Don't take my word for it. That's what they used to say on Reading Rainbow. Don't take my word for it. Go read it yourself. It said great. It said great. I don't know about you. I don't consider myself a great person, but I know there's great problems out there. I said, I don't know what your problem is. I don't know what you're dealing with. Which is sad because you don't know what I'm dealing with. I don't know what you're dealing with, but as a church family, we should. I'm preaching to myself. Don't get mad at me. Don't throw your hymnals. God got this. He's got it. I want to say one more thing. As I'm saying, I want Zach to come up here. I want Brother Reggie to come up here too. I want Brother Reggie to do our closing prayer. As I said at the beginning, I imagined the boat they was on was big. It ended up being small. This life we have on this earth, I know when we're little we feel like we're going to live forever. I don't know. I don't contemplate death. I still don't. I don't want to think about it, but in reality, this little boat of ours is small. Don't you want Jesus with you? Don't you want Jesus navigating that boat? He's there. And he ain't going anywhere. If you let him take the wheel, you have nothing to fear. He will calm your storm.